I was like, oh, let me pick up Yakuza 4 for a second here, and even though I was drunk, that part that completely was so difficult for me that I quit playing the game is I beat it in one go. I don't know what happened.
Nice.
I think I hit that like nirvana stage of being drunk,
right.
but also like being able to play a game properly.
Yeah.
And
Zen gamer.
Yeah. And so in terms of an old game, if I were to give it to a game that is so old it shouldn't be played in 2016, but not too old that it's like nostalgic, like a 16-bit era game, I would give that award would go to the Yakuza 5.
What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 29 of Podcast Reload. It's the general gaming podcast by Sifted.net subscribers, where we invite community guests onto the show to talk about the games industry in all its weird ways. I am your host, Vin Hill, and joining me as always is, of course, my co-host and fellow Japan dweller, Evan Piotrowski. Just get the obligatory can opening there of beer. That's standard Evan. But we haven't actually got a community guest once again. Of course. Do you actually want to say hello, by the way, Evan?
Oh, yeah, right. Season's greetings, happy holidays, happy New Year's, Sifters.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Hope everyone has had a very cheerful and at least, decent to enjoyable holiday season.
Yeah, average to poor, as it were.
Average to poor.
But no, it should be a good year. We got a good year of gaming coming up at least. So, yeah, I'm kind of excited for 2017. I'm glad that 2016 is behind us for various reasons, which we all won't go into, obviously.
No.
It's been all over the news, all over the place, so we don't really need to go into all that. But yeah, anyway, community corrections, feedback. I actually want to apologize for last episode because I stupidly didn't select my microphone when we started recording. Unknowingly, I ended up using my MacBook Pro's microphone, which didn't do too bad, but it was definitely... But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to apologise about that, and this one should be nice and silky smooth. It should sound a bit normal again, so moving forward, should be good. Okay, we are actually going to skip what we've been playing this week, and we're also going to skip our game, because me and Evan obviously played it last week, and obviously we haven't got a community guest this week, because we actually wanted to do a 2016 games and stories sort of whole review of 2016 and everything that we played, everything that we've enjoyed, some things that we've been disappointed by, and etc. etc. So yeah, we're gonna jump straight into it. A year in review. Evan, 2016. It's been a good year, man.
In terms of games, yeah, it's been a good year. I mean, I bought a PlayStation 4. My first. Finally, yeah. I upgraded to current gen, so definitely in terms of that, 2016 has been a big year for me. I mean, definitely November, December.
Yeah.
Played a lot of games, just trying to squeeze it in.
Just playing catch up
as much as possible.
Yeah. It's weird. Like we're obviously going to be talking about our game of the year and all this sort of stuff, but I sort of feel like we should do a game of the year of 2013 for you at some point. Just in case.
Oh, yeah, we could. I mean, we do have a category on here that takes a nod to that.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, anyway. Cool. So we should probably move on to one of our first sort of topics. Well, I say topics, but one of our subtopics, as it were.
Yeah, I guess you can pick any of these.
Yeah. All right, what do you want to go for? What's a good one to kick off with?
Games we need to play that we don't own.
So we should probably get the ones that we haven't played out of the way, so people aren't going to be like, "What? Why didn't you give it to this?" Just in case. So.
Okay, yeah, that's a good way to tackle this.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest one for me, which I didn't get into, which I should, and I'm sort of ashamed that I haven't picked this one up yet, is Overwatch. Everyone's playing it, everyone's loving it. I'm a huge multiplayer gamer, and I still haven't got around to playing Overwatch.
Well, that's surprising. Like, I've played Overwatch.
I've played it. I played the beta when it was in open beta. I played it for a good day or something. I played it for like 1 or 2 days, and I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
But it just got to that point where I was starting to save money because obviously I'm moving to America in 2 weeks, and it's in the sort of run up to that, I was like, oh, I can't really spend like $60 on a game I've already got Last Guardian pre-ordered like at the time. So it was just one of the games that has sort of slipped into 2017. But I will pick it up. But that is definitely one that I really, really do wanna play. But how about you? Like, what's the big one that comes to you?
I was thinking Doom. I actually bought Doom on one of the massive sales that they had in either November or December. I don't know. It's kind of a blur for me.
Yeah.
I just kept putting my credit card number in and buying games, and I woke up and like I was like $200 in the hole. I don't really remember what happened, but because
like
I own Doom and I can play it at any time, I'm gonna put that to the side. Oh yeah, because it's the title of this is games I need to play that I don't own. I still need to play Doom, but I do own it, so it's disqualified.
I think that counts. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I do want to play it, but I have a couple on here, like Dishonored 2. I didn't play. Hyper Light Drifter.
One. Yeah, Dishonored 2 I haven't played. Doom I haven't played, and I really need to play them games because too much money, dude.
It's so much money. Yeah. Ratchet and Clank, Rise of the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition.
That is another
all of
one.
those games are really high on my list, but I will say I think out of all those games, Dishonored 2 is the top of my list.
Yeah.
Dishonored is one of my favorite games of all time. I put it in my top 10, but like we've talked about before, you can kind of like take 3 games out and slap 3 new games on that top 10 list, right?
Oh, definitely.
It's kind of always perpetually changing. But I think that's the game I'm most excited about. But I can't spend any more money right now. So I'm going to have to hold off.
But yeah, well, saying that, you've come out of November and December, like you've got like a year's worth of gaming within 2 months. Like the fact that you've got through the games that you have gotten through is pretty impressive, man, I have to say. I mean,
I am on vacation though. Like
this is true.
I platinum 2 games in a week, and I just thought like I need to like go outside and like just fresh air and like seeing people and sunlight and all that stuff. Like that actually happened last week sometime. But yeah, I've been trying to plow through games, but I just not have picked up Dishonored 2.
Yeah, that is one that is pretty near the top of mine. Rise of the Tomb Raider is also. Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, I've played a lot of other games though, so it's not too bad.
Okay, so for games we need to play but we don't own, our picks are Overwatch and Dishonored 2. All right, moving on to the next topic.
Games we've played but haven't finished.
Yeah, the big one is obviously for me. I know The Witcher 3 came out in 2015, but that's still upon my list as the biggest one, which I still haven't gotten around to, which I really want to play, and it's tough, man. I mean, it's like I said a few weeks ago, I just walked into that open world and I was like, oh no, I can't do this right now. I just walked away from it. So
yeah. I mean, I'm right there with you. I bought that on one of the myriad of sales as well, and it's on there. It's on that list.
Yeah,
but I haven't played it yet.
The other notable one, which I started, which I really, really want to play, I really want to get back to it, I really want to dig my nails into it, was Darkest Dungeon. It's a perfect Vita game. Like I know you don't own a Vita, but if anyone's listening that owns a Vita and they haven't picked up Darkest Dungeon, it is a perfect game for that system. And if that ever became an iOS game, it would kill. I really think it would. It's sort of like Dark Souls, XCOM mixed into one. It's ruthless,
sure,
but really fun. Yeah, I mean that is one game that I definitely want to get back to. I mean, I'm really excited to do that. I think that's actually going to be my plane game when I'm flying to the States.
There you go. That's a new category.
The playing game. Yeah, why didn't we put that in?
The playing game.
The playing game. All right, what would be your playing game? Like, have you got any handhelds actually? Like, do you own any?
I have a Game Boy Advanced AGS 101, which is the one with the really good backlit screen.
Right, okay.
So doubling back, sorry, go on. Games I haven't finished but really like category.
Yep.
You said, Jesus, I've already forgot what you said.
Darkest Dungeon.
Mine's a toss-up between Dying Light, the following Enhanced Edition, and Persona 5. And I know, like, probably B Cooper 21, is that the numbers on there?
Maybe.
And Curious Conjurer, they'd probably want to punch me in the face right now. Because I've actually put down Persona 5 to play other games, but... It's just, I mean, it's the same kind of thing with you in The Witcher 3 where there's so much going on with that game and you know it's going to take forever. But yeah, I would say Dying Light, I really, really like that game. But I will say, Vin, it fucking pisses me off that when you die, you lose survivor points. You literally lose XP when you die.
Yeah, I mean, early in the game, that's sort of annoying, but when you hit about the halfway mark, and it's you lose so few compared to how many you're gaining from all the quests, and so, like, you don't even notice it anymore.
Yeah, so I need to push through
just push through it. Like, honestly, once you get to the point where you've just opened up enough abilities and you've opened up the whole map and you can just, and you feel like a god, the game just changes at some point. And it's just like, this is awesome. Like, this is exactly what I wanted it to be.
Yeah, I guess they do have tiers for like strength and agility that are separate that you don't. Yeah,
exactly.
You're not punished for, but. I just ran into this guy. He kept shooting me, and I lost. It was like boom, 1,000 points, boom, 1,000, and then I literally was almost to the next level, and it went all the way down to 0. I'm like, that is fucked.
Yeah, that sucks.
Imagine that in like a Final Fantasy game where you lost a battle, 2 battles in a row, and your people, all your entire party went down to 0 XP. Kind of pissed me off, but aside from that, the game is really good. So, speaking
of Final Fantasy, isn't it interesting that we haven't mentioned it in the games that we need to play that we don't own? You know, like that's how low my hype is for this game, and I'm still not hyped over it. Like, I'm not interested in it whatsoever yet.
Which is absolutely insane, because I've said it a million times, and I guess I'll say it again just to reiterate. But I've beaten aside from 11 and 14, the MMORPGs. I've beaten every Final Fantasy game. I've even beaten Mystic Quest.
All right, and I haven't finished them all. I didn't even finish Mystic Quest. Like, I remember I was talking about this, and you are the stronger one of us both, I'll say that.
Yeah, that game sucks.
It's pretty bad.
But like, having said all that, I'm just not hyped for Final Fantasy 15 at all. I don't know.
And it's like, there's people at work that are talking about, like, what level are you now? And they're talking between themselves, like, everything these people are saying, it's just not what I want out of a Final Fantasy whatsoever. It's just like never talking about story. They're just like, the story's really bad. It's like, why are you playing it then?
It just seems like it's like the World of Warcraft grind aspect of that game. Is what's pushing
and I played
along.
WoW, and I enjoyed WoW, and I got the grind and stuff, but that's not why I play single player RPGs. Like, I don't play it for the grind. I play single player RPGs for the story.
Right.
Like, if I wanted to grind, I'd boot up World of Warcraft again. You know,
well,
it's just weird.
After patch 5 comes out, where they've changed half the fucking game in 2017, then you and I can jump in and maybe it'll be better.
Sounds good. That's a plan.
All right,
we should do that.
Yeah.
just us two.
Hey, it might happen. Like, we joke, but
oh yeah, for sure.
All right. So, for games we've played but haven't finished, our picks are Darkest Dungeon and Dying Light: The Following Enhanced Edition. Okay, moving on to the next best of. Here's one for me. Being that I just got my PlayStation 4, so I've been playing some older PlayStation 4 games. This is I joked about Yakuza 5, but this is the
best 2015 game of 2016.
I recently played. It might be tied. This is so arbitrary, it doesn't really even matter. But I have a tie between 2 games that I just recently beat: Axiom Verge and Until Dawn.
Nice.
Until Dawn is the perfect. I platinum the game. That's how much I like it. The perfect melding of 80s and 90s slasher horror, but putting you in the driver's seat of, you have to make that decision whether to run out the front door or go upstairs. And guess what? You make as dumb decisions as those people do in those movies, and the game kind of pushes the mirror in front of you and like, see, it's not. It is pretty difficult when you have 5 seconds to figure out what you want to do, type of thing. I think they nailed it. I mean, there's so many aspects of that game. It's like they just nailed it at all ends. Have you played that at all?
I haven't. That is one game that I need to get around to.
If you can handle a game like Heavy Rain and how they control, I would say, like, if that game pops up on sale and you're in the mood to play a style that kind of game, I think it's great. The story is perfect for the genre that it's trying to emulate.
Yeah, and
it hits all the notes of those horror movies. And I'm a massive horror movie fan. Like, I watched probably some of the most fucked up horror movies like ever put to film. Like, seriously. But Like, I actually watched both seasons of the Scream Netflix original TV series.
Oh, Jesus. How was it?
So that's how much I like that shit.
How bad were they, by the way? Like, just quickly.
I don't know. I think they're actually pretty good.
Right.
Like, I actually liked it. Yeah.
I'll check it out.
It keeps you guessing till the end, like who the killer is, and that's what I look for in those types of movies. And then Axiom Verge is so good. You're playing it, and I immediately was thinking Super Metroid.
Right.
And it's like, it makes me sad to play this game because it's so good, and all I'm doing here is sitting here and wondering, like, why is there not another side-scroll 2D Metroid game?
Dude, it's the endless question for Nintendo. Like, honestly, why isn't there this game? Why isn't there this game? Hey, Nintendo, why haven't you made this game? Like, honestly, I've got so many of them questions. It's ridiculous. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Just why Nintendo? That should be my tagline for 2015, 2016 as well.
Should be an award as well.
I know,
but
right?
yeah, and for the sake of moving on, I don't want to go into Axiom Verge. Axiom Verge is amazing.
Right.
It is the perfect Metroid game that was never made.
Yeah. I've heard very good things
one man.
about it.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I can't believe it was made by one person.
It's pretty awesome.
I got to hand to him. It's yeah. If I would have played that in 2015, that would definitely be in the conversation of well, I'm saying it right here. Like Until Dawn and Axiom Verge are my favorite 2015 games of 2016. So
sweet.
Vin, have you played any games that were released in 2015, but you first played them this year?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sort of cheating on this one, but a game which I finished this year, but I started in 2015, was Bloodborne. I originally.
Oh, that counts. Yeah.
Yeah, I originally played it in 2015 for about. I must have been on it for about 3 hours. I got absolutely murdered in it, and I was like, fuck this game. And I put it down. And then, like, 6 months later, halfway through 2016, I decided to put it back in and give it another try, and I ended up finishing it. And I did enjoy it, but I still have my certain issues with it. But I did really enjoy it. I've probably spoken about that game more than any other game this year, which is weird, you know? Like, normally people are excited about new games coming out. People asking, like, a lot of people have been asking me for my opinion about The Last Guardian and stuff because I'm a huge Ueda fan. But I'd say I've probably spoken about Bloodborne a lot more. So, yeah, that would definitely be my 2015 game of 2016. Definitely.
Nice. Good pick. I wish I could play that game. I can, but, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if it's on sale for like $10 or something, you should definitely pick it up and just, you know, try it out. Because some people, I've met so many people that have just been saying, "Oh, it's too difficult. I don't want to play it," and then they played it, and then they got past the first boss, and like, okay, I want to carry on playing this now. And they just got that bug, you know, like the Dark Souls bug as it was. So yeah, you never know.
All right, so the best 2015 games of 2016 are Until Dawn / Axiom Verge and Bloodborne. All right, so let's move on to
old games that are really, really good.
And immediately what comes to mind is a game that I played in January, I believe, of 2016, which is Resident Evil Revelations 2. And I think, like, since Resident Evil 4, which is one of my favorite games of all time, this is the game that has gotten closest to how I felt about Resident Evil 4. Obviously, it wasn't the Revelation. Oh, that was
poor God, that was awful.
I did not try to do that.
Oh yeah, you did, and it was horrible.
it wasn't the Revelation that RE4 was in terms of how it changed the way that third person shooters play.
Yeah, that still hurts. Ow.
Sorry. Let's just quit now.
Yeah.
Like 29 episodes in, we're done. Put a stamp on it.
We had a good run. We had
a good run. Yeah. All it took was sorry. But the game's great. The game's great. It has the right level of cheese, the right level of seriousness, the episodic frame. Take it or leave it. But the greatest thing that game ever brought was a dodge button. We talk about, obviously, I've mentioned it before, Dishonored's blink mechanic.
Yeah, that's a good point.
A dodge button in a Resident Evil game where if you time it correctly, you can technically, figuratively, dodge every single attack of any enemy in that game. And it's just like, it's something that those games sorely needed. And it changes the game. It adds another level to how you can play that game, where you can get into situations where you're surrounded and you can get out of it simply by pressing circle and moving in a direction.
Yeah.
And I think it did everything right, and it was perfect for, it had Claire Redfield, it had Barry, the fuck is his last name?
It's just Barry. Honestly, I swear to Christ, like no one can ever remember Barry's name.
Yeah, and the story was Resident Evil level acceptable in terms of its ridiculousness and in terms of like the virus and the framing of the story and all that stuff. But I had a great time with that game, and I was not expecting it. So yeah, that is my old game. That is a really, really good award.
Sweet. Yeah, for me, I've got to give it to Skyrim again. I know it's horrible, and I know I keep talking about this game, but Jesus Christ.
How many hours, Vin? How many hours?
About 50 into it this time.
I
picked up the remaster of the PS4, and it's one of them games that it's just 5 more minutes, one more quest, one more quest. It'll be okay, I'll just do one more. Oh shit, it's 4 a.m. It's one of them sort of games. It's horrible. Like, it's the worst sort of virus addicting thing ever. It's horrible. But It's an amazing game, and I'm still loving it. And the fact that it still holds up after 5 years, it came out 2011, it's pretty incredible. And the fact that the PS4 version's got mods, it's got all of the DLC, and you can.
How are you finding that stuff, by the way?
I haven't actually turned any of the mods on because.
Oh, okay.
Which is weird. I've tried them, but I turn them straight off again because it actually it turns off the achievements, like the trophies and stuff.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I guess that makes.
So I'm gonna play through it once and see how many trophies I get, and then after I've finished it and see the credits roll, I'm gonna go in and mess around with all the mods and stuff. But yeah, man, the game holds up. Still feels great. And if you haven't played it, then you need a slap, especially you, Evan, because I know you still haven't played it, and
I have never played Skyrim.
You're a horrible person. You should feel bad. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right. So to recap, old games that are really good, we have Resident Evil Revelations 2 and Skyrim Remastered.
Yep.
All right. Moving on to a new category. How about
biggest backlog shame?
This is just, for some reason, this is the game you focus most on that shouldn't be in the backlog, but it still is.
Yeah.
Type of thing. And for me, it's Persona 5, because I'm one of the people. I don't have to wait till April. I can play that game right now, and I'm not playing it.
But saying that, Evan, I think you're actually doing quite a clever thing where you're not playing it yet, because if you start playing it at the beginning of April and you finish it just as it comes out, then you can be a part of the conversation, like, so everyone else that's playing it as well, you can get excited with them and stuff. So like, if you finished it today, if you did play it every single day since it came out in Japan, like you when it did finally come out in April and everyone was talking about it on Sifted or whatever, you'd just be like, yeah, I played that, done.
That might be yeah, I mean, that might be true. Maybe I am waiting for that.
I'm giving you a free excuse. Just chew on it. Like, take it.
All right. Yep. That's exactly why I'm doing it. Yeah. It's just, I know I need to play that game, because I've played about 6 hours of it, and it's great. It's like, this is exactly what I wanted out of the next Persona game.
Mm-hmm.
And Persona 4 is amazing. It's one of my favorite games of all time as well. It's definitely in that conversation. And so far, I'm 6 hours into an 100-hour game, so.
Yeah.
Things could change, but from what I played, it's like, this is exactly what I wanted, and I don't think anyone's going to be disappointed in it. But I think I know what you're going to say, Vin, but what is your biggest backlog shame?
I can give you my runner-up. My runner-up is actually Persona 4, ironically.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's sat there on my Vita, and I still haven't got it.
Okay, so how about we slap each other at the same time and get it over with, because you need to play that fucking Persona game. 4.
Yeah, but my actual winner is obviously The Witcher 3. That's still a big one. I mean, I need to get around to that game. The fact that it won Game of the Year by so many different websites, and everyone was talking about it, and just Blood and Wine got a really good review, and the fact that there's this spin-off card game, which is actually my fantasy league, that's coming out for it. Like, people love it that much. It's got that sort of next level hype, and I still haven't gotten around to it, and it's terrible because I'm a huge RPG fan as well, especially Western RPGs. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like it's checking all the boxes. You just need to.
Yeah, it was checking too many boxes. That was his freaking problem.
You got afraid. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like that walked into that first town, got all them quests, and I was like, yeah, this is a part-time job right here. So yeah,
Yeah, you had like flashbacks of Skyrim, and then instead of playing The Witcher 3, you just went back to Skyrim.
What a fucking idiot. Like, I'm the dumbest person in human history. Can you slap me twice when you see me for Persona 4?
You could have been 50 hours into The Witcher 3 right now.
Exactly.
You realize this, right?
But I wouldn't have been. That's the thing. Because the thing about this is my defense, right? The thing about Skyrim, if I play Skyrim for like an hour, like I can put it down. Like the addiction's like sort of subsided, sort of thing. So I can play it in small intervals and I can still walk away from it. But if The Witcher is that good, and if I'm playing it, I won't be able to put it down. So, yeah.
Sure. All right.
That's my only logic.
That'll hold up in the court.
God, I hope so. Please forgive me, Your Honor.
All right. So, the biggest backlog shame award goes to Persona 5 and The Witcher 3, with Vin's runner-up being Persona 4.
Indeed.
All right. All right, let's move on to
Best Moment.
Mine's going to be brief because I'm not going to ruin it for anybody.
Okay.
My best moment award goes to the last 6 or 7 minutes of Inside.
Okay.
That is all I can say about it.
You're being as ambiguous as possible.
Actually, I went back. The second I finished that game, I went back to the Game Face episode where Shane and Matt talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
And Shane had said, he's like, this is one of the most insane things I've ever seen in probably video games. That might be saying a bit too much, but it's definitely my best moment of 2016. Like, holy, Jesus. Vin, this should have been the oh Jesus moment of 2016.
How do we miss that?
Oh, we can change it now. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah, fuck it.
All right.
The best moment of 2016.
The oh Jesus moment of 2016. The best oh Jesus moment of 2016 is the last 6 minutes of Inside.
Sweet.
And that's all I'll say about it. How about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest oh Jesus moment was probably booting up The Last Guardian for the first time. That was a great moment. The fact that we've been waiting for this game for 8 years, and we finally had it, and it was real. It was there. It was actually tangible. We could actually boot up and move around as a kid. Like there's people that are obviously disappointed by the game. There's people that really love the game. There's many flavors in between the game. I think it averaged out like 81 or something, 82 on Metacritic. So I didn't do too bad.
Actually, I think it's still sitting at 83. Sitting pretty.
Really? Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So it's still in the green. Still in the green.
Yep.
So, but yeah, that was a great moment. I finally got around to playing The Last Guardian. It was real after all them years. So
well, that's definitely my runner-up, Vin.
Yeah.
I had that same, and I know some people might be rolling their eyes, but
yeah,
I totally get that. But like,
yeah,
it was that moment
Yeah.
when it was in my hands, and when I loaded it up, and I was like, I can't believe I'm actually doing this, and whatever. Everyone has their moment. It could be a different game.
Mm-hmm.
It could be the next Metroid that'll never fucking come out.
Right, exactly.
You might have that moment, and I think for Vin and I, like that was our moment where you almost couldn't believe that it was actually happening.
Yeah.
By the way, Vin, do you had only the digital version, right?
Of The Last Guardian. Yeah, I've actually got the special collector's edition or whatever it is. I've actually got that sat waiting for me in America for when I get there, and I've got a little statue and all that sort of stuff. So.
Okay, that's awesome. By the way,
Yeah.
I wish I had that, but it's like $300 on Amazon Japan. But
oh Jesus.
So
yeah.
Without knowing anything about the game, not just a lot about the game, I took the disc out. I bought the disc. I have a physical copy.
Mm-hmm.
Put it in my PlayStation 4. Beat the game, and then it sat in there, right? And then I wanted to show my nephew another game I had, and I ejected the game, and I never noticed the picture on the fucking disc because just looking at it before you played it, you wouldn't know.
Right.
So you have something to look forward to. Obviously, it actually might not be that special at all, but to me, when the disc came out, I'm like, oh shit!
Right.
What an awesome fucking disc. So yeah, you have something to look forward to when you
Sweet.
see that lovely collector's edition.
Indeed.
in the States. All right. So best moments. For me, it is the last 6 to 7 minutes of Inside, depending on how fast you want to get through that section.
Right.
And simply playing The Last Guardian. That's nothing simple about that, but Finally.
Yeah, finally.
The Last Guardian.
I mean, Christ.
For Vin.
I mean, it was a weird month.
That's my runner-up as well.
December was a crazy month. The fact that we got The Last Guardian and Final Fantasy 15, 2 games that we've been collectively waiting for like 20 years. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, best moments of 2016. December might be. I think might be the winner.
Yeah, it was definitely a late bloomer, as it were, but it came out strong in the end.
Yeah, it definitely did. All right. Okay, so we have best moments. How about
best surprise?
Yeah, I mean
these are slightly linked, but I think there's a nuance to the meaning of
definitely
both of these.
Definitely. I mean, I wasn't surprised by The Last Guardian, for instance. You know, like it was definitely a good moment. Though, biggest surprise for me, man, it was probably Battlefield 1. The fact that they had the balls to go back to World War One and do all that again. I mean, we did it like on the podcast when I heard about it for the first time. Like I saw it. It's like, Jesus Christ, it's real! Oh my God, they go back to World War One. That's awesome, and it was great. It was nice to see all the old weapons and stuff. I mean, it is getting patched now, and it's sort of slowly changing back into a modern shooter, as it were. Like they're beefing up the submachine guns and all that sort of stuff, which is a bit of a shame. But for a time, it was definitely my biggest surprise. I really didn't think they would do that. There was rumors that they were going to do that, but I didn't think it would actually happen. So when I finally saw the actual reveal trailer, I was like, whoa, that was a cool surprise. But how about you, man? What was your biggest surprise?
The last 7 minutes of Inside.
Yeah, I mean, that can be your best moment and biggest surprise, I guess.
It's tied. I mean, I was surprised, but I'll actually say biggest surprise, I kind of liked playing Overwatch.
Oh, really? Okay.
So there was an open weekend about a month ago, and you could just download the game and play it for the weekend. And I was like, you know what? I actively dislike competitive online multiplayer, but I should give it a chance. And I went through the tutorial, and then I did PVC, and I actually had a pretty fun time.
Nice. Would you actually? Are you considering picking it up, or was it?
No, absolutely not.
Right. Okay. So it was just for that 1 week. You were sort of like a weekend love affair.
I gave the game
right?
a good 4 hours on a Sunday night. I remember that.
Right.
And then I moved into PvP and just got
a different world.
My ass kicked up and down the wall for like an hour, and I'm like, fuck no. Yeah. It reaffirmed why I don't give a shit about competitive online multiplayer. It's not my thing.
Fair enough, man.
But that brief couple hours, I'm like, I can see why people like it, which I think is important for me to understand.
Definitely.
Otherwise, I would just roll my eyes at every Overwatch wins best game of 2016 award, and there's frankly a lot of them.
Yeah, and rightfully so. I mean, from what I played of it, what people are saying of it, I don't blame it that it's got Game of the Year.
Yeah, I did not expect to like it at all. And hey, when I got like play of the match or whatever it was fucking felt good. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I get why that game is good. It's just, yeah,
it's not your cup of tea, as it were.
Not my cup of tea. Yeah, or as I think Germans say, it's not my beer.
That's definitely more fitting for you. Yeah,
and it's actually really, really fitting. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So. Biggest surprise, Vin is Battlefield 1, and for me, it's Overwatch. I would say, like, kind of liking Overwatch. Let's
kind of liking here.
Yeah. Kind of liking Overwatch. All right, let's move to Vin. Let's move to and I'm interested because you and I actually streamed our reactions of the E3 press conference this last year in 2016. So let's move on to
most memorable press conference moment.
So, Vin, what is your most memorable press conference moment? And this is just as how you felt about a game that was shown and surprise, or just
I mean,
it could be anything about a press conference.
Yeah, I think it's tough. All right, I'll give my runner up at least because it needs mentioning. But at the PSX conference when the Last of Us Part 2 was announced, that was huge. It was like the middle of the night here. It was the last game that I was expecting to even hear about anytime soon, and I felt like screaming top of my lungs. I was, oh my God, it's the Fireflies logo. Like I was just losing my shit. But
did you watch that live?
Yeah, I was watching it live in Japan. It was.
You're lucky, man.
Yeah, it was like 3 a.m. or something, right?
I woke up and already saw that.
Yeah.
They released. I saw the headline, so
yeah,
the moment was kind of lost for me.
Yeah, it was a really good moment because the trailer was. I don't know who designed that trailer, but it was just perfect the way it was set up. Like the forest and then the cars. It was like, this is like a Days Gone game, right? And it's just moving out, and then the music is a bit like The Last of Us, and you're like, wait a minute. And then just as like the sort of dots connect, like you see the Fireflies logo, like, oh my God, and then it just teases you all the way through it. And even at the very end when it finally reveals like Joel is still there and and he comes and talks to Ellie, it's like, fuck, yes, like it's everything that you wanted out of a trailer. If we were doing a best trailer award, that would definitely be it, by far. But my biggest most memorable like press conference moment that was probably with you, man, like when we were watching Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, I was about to do like a girls like sleepover type thing. Like, all right, let's say his name at the same time. 3, 2, 1. Danny Holston. I just made that name up right now. I apologize to any Danny Holston that actually exists.
Can you imagine if one was listening?
He's out there, right? Type his name into Facebook. He'll show up. Danny Holston.
Danny, you are wanted.
Yeah, you are wanted. Yeah. Then and I said your name at the same time.
It was just Evan, actually, but
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, this.
All right. Yeah. This is getting into Jesus territory.
Oh, Jesus.
No, Vin, that is my most memorable press conference moment because.
Yeah, blew me out of the water.
The whole Last of Us Part 2 was lost on me because I saw the announcement before I didn't watch it live, so it kind of got ruined for me.
Yeah.
I guess you could say, but yeah. I mean, just watch the reaction video. Click the like button, subscribe if you want to. All that good stuff. Mm-hmm. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Sorry, but yeah, I mean, both of us just completely to the end of that trailer.
Right. Yeah.
Neither of us knew what game that was.
Didn't even have an inkling whatsoever, and even if I'd played the kitchen or whatever, the VR demo or whatever, but I hadn't, and the whole thing that we were watching, we watched the whole gameplay. It was a good solid 5 minutes of gameplay or something. I was like,
it was pretty long.
Yeah, it looked good. It was like, man, this looks like PT and stuff. I wonder if it's like some random indie team. And then when I can even see it now. When like the 7 came up, and we both. If you watch the video back, we both just said 7 out loud. And we were like 7, like 7? Confused. And then like Resident Evil came up, like, oh my fucking God! Like, it was a good moment.
Like, I got goosebumps and a tingle up my spine, and I can't really say that about any other announcement in recent memory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think
it was just so shocked.
Yeah, I think that was the difference between Resident Evil 7 and the Last of Us trailer, because I watched them both live, but. In somewhere in the back of my mind, I knew that The Last of Us was coming eventually, but I wasn't expecting that out of a Resident Evil game. I think that's what really blew me away the most, because it was just like, this is completely different to everything that we've ever seen from Resident Evil. Like I was expecting like tank mechanics, some other crap, but no, it was good that they listened to the feedback after 6, and. They're trying something different, and that was definitely the best moment for me.
Coming soon, by the way, 24th, I think, of January.
Yeah, pretty soon.
My
Crazy.
wallet is completely empty due to the recent November-December holiday sale, so I will not be picking up RE7 when it comes out, but...
yeah, that's definitely a summer game.
I hope it's good. I will play it during the day with all the lights on when I finally right. throw the money down to get it. Yeah,
in your cardboard box fort,
Yeah, exactly, yeah. All right, so let's see. What was that? Most memorable press conference moment? Both the RE7 reveal trailer and with the runner-up, The Last of Us Part 2. Definitely. All right, moving on. We could talk about...
Biggest disappointment. Wah, wah.
For me, the biggest disappointment of 2016 is the Wii U.
Yeah.
Even looking, I actually made a list of the games that I played this year just for reference, while we talk about games on the podcast. And under the Wii U, I have Shovel Knight, which came out in 2016 in Japan, Twilight Princess HD, which is an HD remake of a GameCube game, and Super Mario Galaxy. which is a fucking Wii U game. No, it's a Wii game.
Yeah, Wii game.
Those are the three notable. One is a fucking port from like 2 years ago. One's an HD remaster, and the other is a Wii game. That's what I played on my Wii U this year.
Yeah.
Like, how much more disappointed can you be? Like, look, technically, by playing all three of these games on my Wii U, I got use out of my Wii U. So there's something to be said about that. But no games came out for that system. And the reason why it's so disappointing for me is because I just got my system. I bought my system in 2015. And the system came out in December of 2012. So I bought it 3 years after it came out. And I was scratching and crawling and running around trying to find something to play. And look, I'm happy with the games that I played, but for 2016, the lineup was dismal.
Yeah.
I mean, when did the PS3 come out? Like 2006?
2006 it came out.
I played that system up until the day that I got my PlayStation 4 in November.
Mm-hmm.
And I was hard-pressed to find anything to do with my Wii U. Like, everyone makes fun of the Wii U collecting dust, right? I've heard it on all the podcasts. It's fucking true.
Yeah.
My Wii U literally has dust on it right now. I can actually... Just earlier today, I had to move my gamepad, and I actually brushed I'm kind of lazy. I brushed the dust off, but I didn't clean it up. So there's actually literally a pile of dust to the right of my gamepad right now. I can see it. It's just under my Christmas tree. Like, how much more disappointed could you be? And I like my Wii U. Like, the games that I've played on it, I really, really like, but they fucking abandoned that system for the entirety of 2016. I'm sorry, but the Star Fox game does not count because it was a piece of shit.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, I was going to say the exact same thing, to be honest. Biggest disappointment of the year for me was just Nintendo, period. Not just with the Wii U performance, but just I was really expecting to see more on the Switch in 2016. I know it's cutting it pretty close into January that we are going to get all this reveal and stuff, but I was fully expecting the Switch to be out, and we were going to be playing a Zelda game by the end of the year or something. And I was hoping to see this refresh from Nintendo, this sort of reform. Because they've had a bad couple of years and so on. I thought they were going to bounce back in 2016, but it was just rumor after rumor after rumor. And they just, like, in retrospect, they announced that they were working on the quote-unquote NX way too soon. Like, they announced it back in 2014 at a press conference where they were doing a partnership with DNA, which is Japan's biggest mobile developer, and at that conference they announced that they were working on the NX, and the fact that we got all the way through 2016 without even seeing a smidgen of it until the very end of the year when we got this ambiguous trailer basically explaining all the rumors were true, and it just left more questions than it left answers, sort of thing. And it's just Nintendo in general, man. It was a big shame to see them sort of absent from the games industry and
I think that's the part.
Yeah,
like, Vin, if you want to spin this, it's just disappointing to see them just almost non-existent in 2016.
Around. I mean, I'm super excited for the new Zelda. I really want to play that game. I'm really excited to see what the Switch has to offer. Like, I really hope they've got a fucking killer lineup. And I know there's people out there that are going to say that it has got a killer lineup, it's going to be amazing and all this sort of stuff. But it's like, yeah, but we don't know that yet. And it could just come out and it could be another Wii U starter again. It's like, oh, we got 3 games coming out for 6 months. And it's like, that's not good enough, boys. You need to...
And here's the thing, like, we're talking about 2016. 2017 could be an amazing year for Nintendo.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. We're strictly talking within the boundaries of January to December 2016.
But yeah, for 2016, hands down, it was a very disappointing year.
Yeah, it was a bad year for Nintendo. A really bad year.
I was scrambling to find reasons to play my Wii U, and the system came out at the end of 2012.
Yep. And
it died even 4 years, even before its 4th year of life. What Paper Mario came out, which is also a disappointment. Just judging from the overall review scores from major outlets and stuff. So it's like, it's just...
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, even on the 3DS.
It's a shame.
Even on the 3DS, man, it didn't do that well. And I've got a 3DS. The last game I played on my 3DS properly was probably A Link Between Worlds, that was the last good game I played. I mean, and obviously there's games out there for everyone. I know there's a lot of people, well, what about Pokemon and stuff? But, I'm not into Pokemon. It's pretty much the same game over and over again. It's from what I've found so far. And that's what a lot of other people are saying. People enjoy that, but I'm not into that. So, I don't know. Right. I mean, I just hope that 2017 is a great year for Nintendo because they really, really need it at this point. And I hope that they don't just... I hope that they're not ready for this thing to fail so they can just jump ship straight to mobile. I really hope that isn't what's going to happen,
Oh, no.
That's my biggest fear. So, yeah, disappointed for Nintendo to have such a bad year, so hopefully they pick themselves up again. So, that is my most disappointing thing about 2016.
All right, so yeah, our biggest disappointments are the Wii U and Nintendo in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hope for better things.
Yeah, tough love, Nintendo.
Tough love, definitely. I hope.
Yeah, I hope.
It's only the second here, so in Japan, so we're at the weird point where, like, I keep saying this year, but do I mean 2016 or 2017?
Right.
It's gonna take me a couple days to get used to it being 2017, but yeah. In terms of 2016, yeah, big disappointment. Hopefully, 2017 is a great year for Nintendo. I certainly hope so. All right, so how about coming up to the end of the awards?
Mm-hmm.
Let's jump into Game of the Year.
Game of the Year
2016, Vin. What do you say?
Indeed. I mean, should we do some run-ups or
runners-up of the year?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I could say some notable games. We could both say some notable games that we played this year, and then from there go into maybe like top 2 or 3 that stood out above the rest.
Okay.
All right. I mean, so yeah, throughout 2016, January to December, what are the most notable games that you played?
The thing off the top of my head, and I'm going to give this one to an indie game, which isn't very common for me, but I do want to give it a shout out because it definitely deserves mentioning, even though, it definitely had its faults and I wasn't completely in love with it, but I really loved what it tried to do, and that was a Hyperlight Drifter.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just such a beautiful love letter to sort of Super Nintendo, Link to the Past sort of style gameplay. It's got really beautiful artwork. The combat feels absolutely amazing. It feels really, really good. It's really responsive, and I just wish there was a bit more story there, so I could chew on it. But other than that, I mean, it was a great year, and we definitely need more games like that. So I definitely want to give that a shout out. But how about you, man? Have you? Let's take it in turn. So what's your first mention, as it were?
My first mention would be Abzu. I just played that game about 2 days ago.
Yeah,
it's a quick 3 hours.
I haven't played this game yet.
The biggest knock against it is that it is way too similar to Journey in terms of everything.
That's sort of the feeling I got from it as well. I mean, just looking at it, so.
Like, Vin, I'm talking like the story told through like shit being written in Egyptian, like, pictures on walls. Like, was that necessary? Like, you're really going that far?
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. The thing is, like, you can get around that stuff because it is about those moments.
Mm-hmm.
Like the moment in Journey when the camera turns to like a 2D plane.
Yeah.
And you're sliding out and the sun's in the background and the music is kind of escalating. Like, Abzu does have similar moments, but nothing like, actually, Vin, I went back and I watched Matt and Shane's review of Abzu on the Game Face.
Yeah.
And they both said that they liked Abzu over Journey. I think they are fucking insane.
Right.
For thinking that. Not saying, you know what I mean. I can't see it. I can't see it.
Yeah.
In no way is Abzu better than Journey. I'm sorry, but in no way. It hits similar notes, and there's a different beauty to seeing a school of fish. I forgot what they call it, a trevally, where fish kind of spin in a tornado.
Right.
Like that, there is a certain beauty to that when you sit in the middle of that and you just look at, like, how did they do this?
But the moment, it sort of feels like the moment's already been stolen, though. Like Journey, like them wow moments that you could find in Abzu have already, like, if Journey hadn't come out and Abzu was the first game, I'm sure we'd probably enjoy that way more than we like.
Actually,
Journey,
you know what? That's if you want to like turn it on its head. Yeah, that might be a good way to say it. But yeah, because it's hits the same beats as Journey does in a different way, but similar. I just couldn't help but think about Journey every new beat of the story and what it was trying to do.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how like they made this game and they didn't think everyone is going to draw those same parallels.
Yeah, I mean, when they first announced that they were... Because there's a few of the guys, obviously, that worked on Journey, moved off and made their own studio, and they're the people that made Abzu. And, like, I knew that was happening, but I was really hoping that it would... Like, it looked like Journey when it first got shown, and it was like, all right, yeah, it's underwater, not in a desert, like the same composer and all that sort of stuff, same sort of, I hate this expression, but same feels, you know. But
right.
yeah, I was kind of hoping that it would branch off a bit more, but you still enjoyed it enough to give it a mention, so that must be what I'm saying.
No, it is, and if obviously Vin, you're a massive fan of Journey, as am I. This game pops up on a sale, whatever.
For sure.
I highly recommend it. You'll beat it in one sitting, and I think you'll have a great time playing it. And there are some special things about it that are different from Journey, but it's just one of those things like, yeah, like they really, really did follow the exact same formula as Journey, and that they where they could have broken off. But whatever. I had a really good time playing it, and I'm glad that I bought it. It was definitely worth it.
Sweet.
I mean, that's not my number 2 game, but most of the games on my list are older than 2016, so it was a bit difficult for me to pick.
Yeah.
2016 games.
Yeah, the next one for me was probably Battlefield 1. Again, I mean, the first sort of 3 months of that game before they started patching it, I had a great time on that game. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I probably will get back to it, especially when I'm in America and I can form a team and can get a squad together and play it properly online. Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to have a lot more fun with it again. But yeah, it was just refreshing to see them go back to that sort of old sort of system, because I know you don't play multiplayer games, man, but there's just been this absolute flood of games which is just near future warfare, and it's getting so old. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that are rolling their eyes at me. It's like, yeah, we were saying that about World War II like 10 years ago or whatever, but it's sort of refreshing. We need that balance in between, and hopefully this is sort of the wake-up call to say, all right, let's mix and match this, and let's not just do the same thing, especially with Overwatch. Like Overwatch has come out and sort of cleared the air, as it were, from all these futuristic or near-future sort of shooters, so...
Right.
Yeah, I have to, and the game's absolutely beautiful, and I really hate the fact.
Oh, I will not. Yeah, I will not argue that. I
hate the fact that it won no awards for like best graphics or anything like that, or best sound design. Even the sound in that game is just next level awesome. I mean, if you're playing that game with some earphones on, it's just insane. It's insanely good. So yeah, I urge anyone to check it out. Even if you don't like multiplayer games that much or anything, like just play the campaign, enjoy the sound design, look at how beautiful it is.
I do want to do that. I do want to do that at some point.
But I wouldn't pay $60 just for the single player though.
Cheap for me to pick it up.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I mean,
but yeah, it looks beautiful. The game looks beautiful, and no one makes a game about World War I, and you finally get to play a game and it has a single player campaign. So I will play that at some point, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, and with honorable mentions finished, it's now time for our final runners-up and Game of the Year.
All right, Vin, I'll switch it to you. What is your runner-up?
My runner-up
Game of the Year 2016.
My runner-up for Game of the Year 2016 is Uncharted 4.
All right, it got edged out.
It had to. I think it's pretty obvious what's going to be first, but Uncharted 4, I mean, Jesus Christ, man, what a beautiful game. It almost won one of my best moments in gaming sort of thing as well. But like the first time you go into a certain village, as it were, I won't give any spoilers, but you go into a certain village and it's absolutely jaw-dropping. And I spent a long time in that village just looking around at all the little details and just the art direction in that game alone, and from my perspective as well as a concept artist, just looking at all the little bits, which
and also it's like, how are there this many moving parts?
Yeah,
this is amazing, and it's all working perfectly.
Exactly. And like sometimes you go into a building and the thing starts crumbling and it's falling down on top of you. It's just, I had no idea this was going to move just because of how much art direction was inside the building, sort of thing. I mean, you were talking about like one of your most memorable moments was the clock tower, right?
I love that clock tower.
Yeah.
Something that no one has brought up in at least any podcast that I listen to when they're trying to bring up some of the more technical aspects or the best moments.
Yeah, I mean, would you like at the start of that? Would you have expected like the sort of destruction to happen around you when it does? I mean, no, just because of how much it looks solid in the game, sort of thing.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I didn't think that. I thought I was going to climb the clock tower and then do a thing and do a lever and climb down. It's like no, it's
yeah, someone else happens.
Yeah. Oh, it just had an amazing time climbing that thing. It's just there's so many of those parts. I mean, even the when you go, it's actually under the clock, a section under the clock tower where you're looking at paintings and then finding the order in which you move tiles. It's one of the puzzles in the game, but it's just there's so many sections in that game. It just keeps getting better and better. I will say my favorite part in that game might be the old lady's mansion.
Right. Yeah. I mean, a very surprising moment.
It's absolutely
right?
Amazing.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most quiet and like slowly paced parts of the entire game. And when you think Uncharted, you do not think that.
Yeah. And I know exactly like that section of that game was definitely inspired from The Last of Us Left Behind DLC. You know,
which I haven't played. Actually.
Yeah, you really need to get around to that. I mean, it's great. A very similar sort of vibe to it as well. If you really like that chapter in Uncharted 4, you will love Left Behind. There's a lot of about it. It's a different side to the game where it's not always about killing and stuff. It's about like the two friends sort of getting to know each other and then playing and stuff, and they're exploring this mall, and it's very similar in like vibes as well. So you should definitely check that out. But yeah, Uncharted 4 is my runner-up for Game of the Year 2016. How about you, man? What is your first runner-up, as it were, or both, I should say?
Actually, Vin, I feel weird about this. My runner-up is The Last Guardian.
Sinner. He sins. No, I'm joking. It's fine.
Yeah, hey, Jesus. He doesn't like that stuff. He's coming. He might be coming for me.
Press A to bless.
Yeah, Jesus' favorite game of the year is probably The Last Guardian.
Right.
I would say. I'm guessing.
No, that's fair enough, man. Yeah, I mean,
from what I've read of the Bible, I kind of connect those two dots. But The Last Guardian is just it's a game I was almost, I don't know, I think we talked about it all year and we kind of knew what we were getting into, and
yeah.
But even knowing what I was getting into, and like I'm talking like the camera side, because the weird thing to me is like everyone complained about Toriko, the way Toriko acted in that it would jump all the way up these pedestals, these columns, and then jump all the way back down. Or they tried to get it to do something for 20 minutes and it didn't work. And you know what? They're not lying. That actually happened with them, but none of that stuff ever fucking happened for me. Ever.
Right. Just fell into place for you.
I will say, the camera is garbage. Mm-hmm. It's absolute shit. And it actually, I almost bit my tongue off at various points in that game because of the camera. But in terms of Toriko and getting that thing to do what I wanted it to do, I rarely had a problem with it.
Yeah, so
not to the level of frustration.
I
don't really know how to wrap my head around how people were so frustrated with Toriko as a
creature, yeah.
as a kind of an NPC in the game, right. Or this thing that you kind of lead from puzzle to puzzle. I don't know. I never had those problems.
Yeah, it happened to me once. Like Toriko jumped up a couple of steps sort of thing, and I had to call him back down, and he came down, and then I got on his back, and then we went up again. It took about 5 minutes to get him back down again. But really,
I mean, once you're able to kind of point Toriko in the right direction, right. It was fine.
I didn't, but the thing is, like, my brain sort of filtered that out because I was so sort of invested with the creature sort of thing. I wasn't looking at that as a technical mistake. I was looking at it as like, oh, my big bird dog is misbehaving sort of thing. That's like how my brain sort of that
might have been part of what I was thinking as well. Yeah,
I mean, like the way was listening to the Jimquisition, of Jim Sterling, and he fucking ripped on the game like in its first, like the first 20 minutes of the game. Where Todigo is just meant to completely like not listen to you that much and stuff, and he's just like, he doesn't really give a shit about you. He's like, oh, it's just this boy, like I don't really trust him, sort of thing. And he was just ripping the game apart, saying, oh, he never does like what I want him to do and stuff. And I was getting really angry, and I was like, dude, he's not meant to. That's a part of the game, Like, I'm not going to excuse the mechanics where the mechanics fuck up. Yeah, the camera is terrible, but, a lot of people rip on this game for elements which are sort of there for nuance purposes as well. So, I don't know. I mean, it's a weird thing.
Right. Well, look, actually, I understand the argument that, like, yeah, like, it's a video game, so I don't want this thing I'm trying to direct to act like an actual animal, because that's insanely frustrating. I get that argument.
Right.
But it just never happened for me. So it's just really hard for me to wrap my head around these people drive. If you want to say the camera kind of ruins the game, if that's the angle you're going for, totally arguable. Mm-hmm. I was able to get around it because everything else about that game was absolutely amazing to me.
Yeah, I got used to it. Yeah.
But the argument with directing Toriko and using Toriko to solve puzzles, I never had that problem ever.
Right.
So it's just a bit, but the game's amazing. We kind of gushed over it for like 40 minutes in one of the podcasts, and
yeah, we did.
There's not much more to say about it. It's just
you can go back. It's
so memorable and. Oh, okay. Let's start here. Best character of 2016, Toriko, hands down.
I mean, probably best character of the last decade, even. I would say.
In recent memory, absolutely.
Yeah,
like,
I would say
amazing.
All right, this generation
the AI
so far,
and how they programmed it, like you can see, like this must have taken to build the AI for Toriko and then build puzzles around it. Must have taken a long time, as it did.
Right.
So I totally get that. But yeah, that is definitely one of my runners-up. All right, so push it on forward to the end of the podcast. Vin, let's do it. What is your game of the year 2016?
My game of the year 2016 is, of course, The Last Guardian. I mean, I can't not give it to this friggin' game. Yeah,
right, let's continue the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go into it too much because we've gushed over it, as you said before, but yeah, it frankly just lived up to my expectations. I was able to look past the camera issues because it reminded me a lot of like Shadow of the Colossus in the issues that had, and yeah, I could just get through it because I'm a huge Ueda fan. I'm totally used to them games, so it wasn't too much of an issue for me. So I was able to get through that. The only thing that really annoyed me about that game was the button prompts. The whole tutorials all the way through the game.
Oh, definitely, and there's an easy way around that is just have an option to turn it off. I don't understand why they didn't put that in the game.
Funny enough, they have now. It's actually patched in. They patched it in.
Oh, seriously?
Yep.
Did you know, Vin, if you press both L3 and R3, the kid will sit down and meditate, and the game will tell you what to do next?
I did. Yeah.
I did not know that until after I beat the game.
It took me 3/4 of the game to figure that out. And it sort of recaps what like the old dude is saying, sort of in retrospect or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go over it too much, but yeah, it lived up to my expectation. It was worth the wait, sort of thing. I enjoyed it. It was a beautiful game. It had a great story. It had a satisfying ending. It was just everything that I wanted. And it was like you were saying in our discussion about it, man. It's like, why isn't there more games like this? And the fact that
yeah, definitely.
We've got like this character, like we need more games like this, and it's definitely worthy of an award to say we need more of it. So, yeah. But yeah, how about you, man? What is your game of the year 2016?
All right, I'm going to cheat. I'm sorry.
You're doing a split one, aren't you?
I'm doing a split.
Oh,
I'm splitting
it. Bitch. That's not fair.
Yeah. But, I mean, all of our award titles are all kind of ridiculous anyway, so.
True. Very true.
I'm going to use that as my excuse. My tied game of the year 2016 is between Uncharted 4 and Inside.
Really?
Yep.
And the fact that you only played Inside last week.
I beat Inside just a couple days ago. And
so literally on the 31st.
You might equate that to just because I played it a couple days ago that it's fresh in my mind. I just got my PS4, so almost every game I mentioned on this podcast, I've played within the last 2 months.
Sure.
Including Uncharted 4. I played that in mid-November, so not even 2 months has passed since I played Uncharted 4. I mean, Uncharted 4 is amazing on almost every level.
Yep.
I think it's the best Uncharted game. I was a bit surprised, like I said before in the podcast, that people were rating it like 2 or 3. And
yeah, that was weird, man. It was definitely it was on par with 2 at least. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're not a huge fan of it, like you've got to understand like the technical aspects of it, the set pieces, just how the game runs, how it plays, the art direction, just everything about that game.
I mean, the story,
stunning.
the wrap up, everything.
Right. Yeah, the ending was perfect.
The characters, the dialogue.
Yeah.
The places that you go in that game and how they will do things like how they balance the action and the exploration and the climbing out with lighter sections like exploring a mansion or, doing stuff like that. I just thought it hit all the perfect beats. And the funny thing is, like, the train sequence in Uncharted 2 at the time was one of the most memorable moments
for sure
in history. And where you might be able to argue that Uncharted 4 doesn't have that train moment, or like the massive like cruiser, like massive what do they call those things?
The ship, the
ship moment in Uncharted 3, where it might not necessarily have that in terms of scale. Just it did everything else so well that I almost didn't even think about that.
Yeah, and Uncharted 4, like this is sacrilege of me saying, but Uncharted 4 would have been my game of the year if there wasn't a certain battle in the game, which was a bit disappointing, like in frustration levels sort of thing.
Oh, that definitely hurt it for me as well.
There's just one moment in the game basically where it does damage the game in retrospect, but other than that, like, it's a fantastic experience, and I would never deter anyone away from playing it. It is well worth the $60 to play it, and without a doubt. But it just, because of that, it sort of slipped back just a tiny bit to let The Last Guardian push through.
So you have The Last Guardian with the camera. That's what hurt The Last Guardian for me. As much as I want that game to be my game of the year. Nothing about Toriko at all. Never had a problem with it, but the camera really, really hurt it. That specific battle you're talking about, Vin, drove me, like, I played the game in hard, and holy fuck is that part hard in the game. So much so that it just baffled me why they even put it in the game.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Yeah. You guys knocked it straight out of the park, and you do this. It drove me nuts. Mm-hmm. One game that didn't have any of that was Inside.
Right.
That game is perfect from start to finish. And one thing I love about that game is it doesn't quite have the head-scratching puzzles that Limbo did. And while people might knock the game for that, I just think the puzzles are so much more intuitive, to where if you're on the same wavelength of that game, it's like it makes sense. Like, oh, you do this next. Oh, you do this. Right. And there was a puzzle I got stuck on for like 20 minutes. But I told myself, like, I'm not going to look this up. And when I figured it out, it's just that beautiful moment of like, I am the fucking smartest person in the world.
Right.
Obviously I'm not, but whatever.
That's why we play games.
It's just very, very... that dopamine just triggers in your brain. It's just like, it's so the satisfaction level is just up there. And then it trims all the fat. That game wastes no time, and it just takes you to these places, and it's the atmosphere. And I'm like, within the first 2 minutes of that game, you know exactly what it's trying to do.
Right. And
it's so unsettling, and it's so disturbing, but the story is vague to a point where you're chasing the mystery by running right and figure out these puzzles. Like, what the fuck is going on? What is this?
Yeah.
This is insane. And then the end of that game is it just goes to places. I would just say anyone who wants to play that game, who's going to play that game, it's in the backlog. You're going to play it. Stay as far away from anything about that game as possible. Download the game and play it, but because I think you're going to have an amazing time. And it's just insane that those people made Limbo, and then took 6 years to make this game, and I think just playing it, it's like I totally see why it took that long, because I just think it's an absolutely beautiful game, and it's one of the most memorable gaming experiences I've had. I played it straight through, sat down, played on the couch, start to finish, and it was absolutely amazing. It's right up there with Uncharted 4. It's just really hard to choose either one of those games. But yeah, if you are mildly interested in playing Inside, download it and play it. I can't say more about it. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. This is Evan, co-host of Podcast Reload, and massive apology to everyone. The last 4 minutes of Vin's audio file magically disappeared, didn't record. So I will be wrapping up the podcast by myself. Luckily, there is a silver lining. We pretty much wrapped up our entire conversation on Game of the Year right before his audio file stopped. So let me quickly recap our Game of the Year runners-up and also our Games of the Year. Vin's Game of the Year runner-up was Uncharted 4, and my Game of the Year runner-up was The Last Guardian. And our Games of the Year are, for Vin, The Last Guardian, and for myself, I did a cheeky tie between Uncharted 4 and Inside. So, coming up to the end of the podcast, a massive thank you to everyone who listened to us in 2016. And of course, a massive thank you to Sifted.net's community guests who not only listened to the podcast, but also throughout the entire year signed up to come on the podcast and talk with us about games for hours upon hours upon hours. Had a great time getting to know Sifted's awesome community members, and I hope to not only get old guests back on the show, but also to get new guests on the show for 2017. I'm going to try to start it out strong. So if you are interested in coming on the podcast, please message us at podcast_reload on Twitter, or message me on Sifted.net at thestanduser. Just let me know what microphone you have and what time zone you are in, and we will work to get you on the show. So, that'll do it for us for 2016. So on behalf of Vin and myself, again, thank you so much, everyone, and we will see you next time. Oh, almost forgot. Please stick around till after the music to listen to some bloopers of me trying to do this wrap-up by myself. I made it way harder than it should have been, and I don't know, you might find it funny. I certainly didn't. So yeah, stick around after the music. Enjoy. So, coming up to the end of the podcast, as we do, our Game of the Year runners-up are Vin's choice, which is The Last Guardian. That's not true. God fucking damn it. Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. This is Evan, Podcast Reload's co-host. That sounded weird. God, fuck, this is so hard. Our Game of the Year runners-up are Uncharted 4 and The Last Guardian. And our Games of the Year are Vin's choice, which is The Last Guardian. Oh, God, fuck. To not only talk with reoccurring guests, but also to talk with... Jesus Christ. For 2016, for me and Vin. Thanks so much, and we will see you. What the fuck am I doing? We pretty much wrapped up our entire conversation on Game of the Year 2016, so let me record... Can I get through a fucking sentence?